Closing the border, Gaza refugees, the war in the Middle East. Talking politics with Senator Kirsten Gillibrand. The Point starts right now. New York Republicans have not had a voice in the U.S. Senate since Al D'Amato was defeated in 1998. And Senator Kirsten Gillibrand, who is up for re-election this year, wants to keep it that way. Senator, thank you very much for joining me. You know, I think one of the biggest issues that's facing the country right now is what to do about the border. I wonder what your thoughts are about it and what, you know, it has such a big effect here in New York.
It has a huge effect in New York, and people are very uncomfortable about so many migrants arriving at one time. They're very concerned because they don't have work authorizations, and a lot of employers would love to hire them. They'd love to have them in restaurants and in hotels, on farms, in hospitals. And so there's been a lot of challenges. One of the things that we worked on in Washington was to fix the system, because the system is badly broken. A lot of people are showing up on the border claiming asylum, but they don't qualify. But that hearing to assess whether they qualify is happening not in a few months, but in a few years. And so they're waiting without a status to allow them to be working, and without any clarity about whether they should rent an apartment, pay their bills, pay Social Security, all the things that we expect people who come here to do. So this bipartisan bill would have fixed a number of those things. It would have had emergency surge of lawyers and judges so they could assess whether they qualify. About 2/3 in New York would not qualify. They'd be sent home. And the second thing it would do, it would give the ability to issue emergency work authorizations, which our governor would love to do, because we have about 200,000 open jobs in New York, and with 150,000 migrants, she'd like to fill them all with the existing jobs.
But if 2/3 of the people in New York wouldn't qualify, would they really be sent back?
Under the law, they would be. But because we don't have enough lawyers and judges to do the work, that adjudication is taking 2, 3, sometimes up to 5 years to resolve, whereas the bill would have mandated that that be resolved within 3 to 6 months. And that would have been so much more efficient. And then people wouldn't be lingering, waiting, no place to work, and creating this anxiety that people feel that our community is not safe because there's people who are just waiting to work and have nowhere to live, and it's costing the taxpayer a lot of money. So the system's deeply broken, but it needs a bipartisan solution. We delivered this bill in the Senate. The House won't take it up. Unfortunately, former President Trump is very cynical, and he said, I don't want any legislation on this. I want it to be broken so I can run on it. That's not what a public servant should be saying. They should be looking for bipartisan, common sense solutions, which we offered up in the Senate.
So now I understand that there are reports out of Washington that the president is thinking of signing an executive order that would limit the amount of people to come in to 4,000 a day. Is it a good idea, a bad idea? Should he do it? Should he not do it?
No, I think the president's quite right. I think he should be able to shut the border when he needs to, when the volume is too high, that we don't have the appropriate staff to make sure that, for example, children or minors are safe. He has to have that authority, and he should just do it. He should try to implement all the things he can do through emergency and executive orders. I'm sure it will be litigated. Some things he might win, some things he might lose, but I support him at least trying to implement these good bipartisan ideas that we had in the Senate, and try to do it through executive action. It may not withstand a court challenge, but in the meantime, he could at least start doing the things that he wished Congress would do and try to have a much more thoughtful and effective policy, because the policies we have right now are not working.
So speaking of asylum seekers, one of the things he's also thinking about is allowing refugees from Gaza to come in and seek asylum here in the United States. Good idea, bad idea? How do you feel about that?
Well, I haven't heard him say that. You know, we've had a real struggle with the countries surrounding Israel and surrounding Gaza not helping. Gaza shares a border with Egypt. The Egyptians have not agreed to take any refugees. There's a border that Israel has with Jordan. Jordan has refused to take any refugees. We would hope that the Middle East partners that we have would take refugees. Saudi Arabia, UAE, Qatar, all those countries should be willing to take refugees, and none of them have come forward, which is a problem, because the difference between what's happening in Gaza today is these families have nowhere to go. They can't leave. There's no exit open to Egypt. They can't go across Israel to get to Jordan. And with the war in Ukraine, a lot of those Ukrainians, 10 million refugees left Ukraine easily, and Europe absorbed all of them. The Polish absorbed so many Ukrainians, taking them into their homes, into their families. Germany has absorbed so many Ukrainians. Everyone in Europe has come to help them. So when Russia starts their incursions and their actions, at least 10 million refugees have left, so are safe. The Gazans do not have that ability because their neighbors will not take them.
So I wonder if there's a concern on the part of the Democratic Party about the pro-Palestinian protests that are sweeping the country, and whether there's a concern that these younger voters may decide to stay home and not vote during the presidential election. What's your thought on that?
Well, some of them may stay home. Some may come out because they know equality is also on the ballot, that the Republican Party and former President Trump have had an all-out assault on women's reproductive freedom, their right to privacy, their right to travel across state lines, their right to privacy in the mail. So maybe their equally important issue of equality and women's reproductive freedom is also being decided, and maybe that might be a reason for them to vote.
I know you plan to get very active in trying to, in the congressional races here in New York, to try to win back some of the seats that went Republican during the last election. I wonder, there's a big primary coming up in the Democratic Party in Westchester where Jamal Bowman is trying to defend his seat against a strong challenge from George Latimer. Are you planning to endorse in that race, and what are your thoughts on that?
No, but I have a very good relationship with both of those candidates. I've worked with Jamal Bowman on education reform since he's been in the House, and I've worked with George Latimer as the county executive on everything that affects Westchester. So they're both extraordinarily effective public servants. They have a different perspective on some issues, and I think it's a decision for Westchester residents to decide.
So one of the things that you've been active in Washington has been dealing with UFOs. You've established the All-Domain Anomaly Restoration Office. I wonder what you could tell me about that. And I know that the report found that while they were able to explain some of the things that the Army and other people are reporting, there were 171 unexplained situations.
It's way more than that now. So the most recent report that I got is they've looked at about 800, as opposed to the first group of 300, unidentified aerial or anomalous phenomenon, because some's in air and some's in water. Most likely a lot of these are drones by adversaries, Russia, China, Iran. Some are spy technology, spy balloons, just like the Chinese spy balloon we saw. And then there might be other technology that we're just not aware of or we can't identify. But what the purpose of this office is to do is to assess it. What is it? Is it a small plane? Is it a drone? Is it a balloon? Is it something we've never seen before?
Is it an alien?
Yeah, is it anything? And the problem is that our pilots, our service members, are often flying missions, and they see aircraft in their way that they're very concerned they're going to run into it, that they're going to take down their aircraft, and without a process to identify it quickly, it's very problematic for domain awareness, national security, and air superiority. So that's what this office is supposed to do. I've also had deep concerns about the number of drone attacks we've seen at nuclear sites and at bases around the country that have been made public. And we cannot have adversaries sending drones to spy on our service members, our technology, our communications. So we need a policy, and I'm working through the Department of Defense to create a much more robust policy to be able to take down these drones so that these bases have the authority
more security around military bases?
Yes, and to have the authority to take down the spy craft, because, you know, yes, maybe something is a science project, maybe something's just an enthusiast who wants to look on the base, but that is not acceptable from a national security perspective or from a domain awareness perspective.
We have a few seconds left. Do you think that there really are aliens and UFOs?
I definitely don't know. And I think it's important that we have full awareness of what's in our skies. We haven't been looking, and we need to look, and we need to be aware.
Okay, on that note, we're going to have to leave it right there for now. But our conversation does continue right after the show on our streaming channel, CBS News New York. Ambassador Ofir Akunis is the Consul General of Israel here in New York. And since you just started, I wonder how you see your role here, coming here at a very difficult time.
First of all, thank you for having me. It's not obvious. Thank you so much. I can say that it's the most difficult times to the Jewish community and to the state of Israel. And I served, as you know, in the Israeli parliament, the Knesset, and the cabinet from 2009. I visited here in the city a lot of times. I never saw horrific events like I saw just lately here in the campuses, the universities, and even in the streets. So, as you said, it's a very challenging times, and I have a lot of work to do here among the Jewish communities, the campuses, and of course my colleagues, congressmen, and of course senators.
There are new reports out of Israel today that Israeli soldiers found the bodies of 3 hostages in Gaza. I wonder if you could talk to me about that and how upsetting it is to you and to everybody in Israel.
I will tell you, it's very upset that the terrorists that invaded actually to Israel on October 7th murdered a lot of Israelis, innocent Israelis. By the way, not only Jews, you know, Arabs, Muslims, Christians as well. And they kidnapped, Marcia, kidnapped Holocaust survivors, babies, really young kids, women, men, innocent people. They kidnapped them from the Nova Festival, and we found, as you just mentioned, 3 bodies.
And one was Shani Luke, who had been, there have been pictures of her being carted away.
That's right.
And so
it's awful, you know, it's horrific to see the pictures from October 7th, and now we know that they killed them after actually they kidnapped them alive. So this is it's a situation for our country, for our citizens, that we never dreamt about after the Second World War, actually. And Friday was a very sad day to us, as you mentioned, because we announced that we found 3 bodies.
So I know that you came here with a Jewish star. Would you like to tell me what this is and why you brought it? Yeah, we found the Jewish star, the Star of David, as we call it, under the ruins houses of kibbutz Kfar Aza. It's one of the kibbutz that was attacked on October 7th.
Of course, it was the massacre actually there in Kfar Aza, in Be'eri, near Oz, and the other kibbutzim and the other
But this
places.
Survived.
And the Star of David survived. And I think that this is a symbol. This is a symbol to the long way that the Jewish people actually started right after Moses said to Pharaoh, "Let my people go." And I'm saying here, right now, to the international community, to the leaders, to the United Nations, to the people of the free world, we want that Hamas let our people go now.
But many people are saying that there should be a ceasefire and that Israel should stop the war. Your reaction to that?
There was a ceasefire. We didn't start the fire. You're familiar to a very famous artist. His name is Billy Joel. He wrote a famous song, "We Didn't Start the Fire." That was a big hit in Israel as well, not only in the United States. And actually, I have his record. And we did. The fact is that we didn't start the fire. That was a holiday. That was a very, very important holiday to the Jewish people, not only in Israel, around the world. Actually, the first Torah, the new beginning of the Torah. And they attacked us viciously, very viciously, I have to tell you. They brought, Marcia, gasolines, liters of gasolines to burn people alive. So we didn't start a fire. We don't want any war with our neighbors. We We are seeking for peace, but we must defend ourselves.
How do you see it ending up?
I hope, first of all, I will tell you, we'll defeat them, because it's not only our battle. Now there is a battle, okay, there's a war in Israel, but it's not only our war. It's the axis of evil versus the free world. We are the free world. You, the Americans, are the free world. We support democracy. We support the freedom of speech. We support actually the modern world and values, and we share the same values. But the axis of evil, and heading by Iran, of course, and Iran's proxies, Hamas, Hezbollah, and the Houthis in Yemen, they all want not to destroy Israel. Of course that they want to destroy Israel. This is obvious. They want to kill us, but they want your head as well. And I want to ask you, and to ask from the audience, to remember the horrific short clip that I saw last week from here, from downtown. I saw it, I was shocked, I have to tell you. A young student screaming, "Death to America." They are screaming death to America. They want you, the Americans, maybe they want to destroy you as well. So we are defending now, not only the Israeli citizens, the population in Israel itself, we are defending the whole free world, including Europe, and then United States and the other countries around
So how do you feel
North
about
America?
The fact that it seems that sympathy for Israel is waning in the United States? I guess maybe because of pressure of the presidential campaign and other things. And how will Israel respond to that pressure to stop? They want to stop they want to pause weapons going to Israel. How will Israel respond to this, what seems like a lack of support now for the country?
I want to be honest with you. First of all, I think that the most of the American people support Israel. They support the values of the free world and democracy. I think that most of them, a lot of them, want that Israel defeat Hamas like you defeated Al-Qaeda. So this is main goal of our government, of our cabinet. There is a huge consensus among the Israelis that this is the first thing that we need to do, and of course with the release of the hostages.
But
so we need to do it, and we need to do it with you, with your help.
I think there's also, though, on the part of a number of people, a concern about the number of people in Gaza who've been killed, and the feeling that it's excessive. And I guess the question is, how do you respond to that, and how do you respond to the president about that?
First of all, no one knows the truth about the numbers. No one. I just heard this week that the UN actually changed the numbers that he already published. So who say that this is the numbers? The Hamas? Hamas can say anything, nothing true that you can believe them and trust them. They are lying all the time, the Hamas. Okay, I think that I have to tell you, I feel for the innocent people in Gaza. I feel for them. You know why? Because they want, most of them, or a lot of them, want to live in peace. They want to work in Israel, in the kibbutzim. They want to work in Tel Aviv, in my city, and they used to. But what happened? Hamas, you know, by the way, as a proxy of Iran, as I said, they want them to be their human shields, the human shields of the terrorists. They are using kids, women as human shields, and then they are saying that there is a big number, huge numbers of people that killed. We don't want to kill anyone. We are just fighting the terror, and the terrorists, or the terror organizations, actually, as I said, they are against us, but they want you as well.
Ambassador Ofir Akunis, thank you so much for being here. We're going to have to leave it right here for now, but we'll be right back.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining me. President Joe Biden and former President Donald Trump have agreed to face off in 2 debates. But do New Yorkers really think they need to hear more from the 2 longtime combatants? They're weighing in on your point. Do you think that President Biden and Donald Trump should debate?
Actually, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe. I don't really care.
Yeah, it'd be awesome. I don't think there's any need.
Oh, yeah. But with no audience.
It'll look bad if they don't.
Absolutely.
Why?
because we need to see the differences.
Well, we need to be able to compare them, and it'd also be really fun to watch.
I'd be curious to see each of their mental states.
Because it would show up how stupid Trump is.
I mean, it would be a disaster. It would be a beautiful disaster.
I think Trump is a loose cannon, and I like the way he shoots himself in the foot when he gets on TV and says outrageous and ridiculous things. So yes, I think they should debate.
Donald Trump can't behave himself.
So therefore, they shouldn't debate?
He wouldn't agree to any rules.
You think you'd learn anything from the debate?
No,
Why not?
because they'll be screaming at each other.
We already know what we need to know.
Because we've both seen both of these politicians for so many years, and their points have remained the same.
What do you think you'd learn?
I think that we would probably get to very clearly see who is competent and able-minded and who isn't.
I think you could see Biden really rising to the occasion the way I've seen him recently.
Nothing.
Absolutely nothing, but I think for pure entertainment value, they should. But
You'd enjoy it.
I didn't say that.
Instead of a debate, what about if they did a physical fitness test or some competition? What about that?
I'd be up for that too.
What would you like to see them do?
I'd like to see them race each other on a treadmill, do some high-intensity interval training at the same time.
Physical fitness test, ballet class. I think they're too old for that.
That would be embarrassing because I think Biden will probably run laps around Mrs. Trump.
You know, I really would like to just see them talk about the issues and not have it be about putting somebody down.
I actually love to see them take some type of mental acuity test together, same test.
Yeah?
Yeah,
Who do you think would win?
hands down. The person who tells the truth, Joe Biden.
Do you think presidential debates are necessary?
Yes.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yes, I think they are. I think they are overall.
I don't know.
Are presidential debates necessary?
They should be necessary, but not the kind of nonsense we've had. It just shouldn't be a performance. It should be substance.